along, and she was starting to cut across to go into the entryway of the car. She ran into the car, or the car ran into her. And you know what? You know whose fault it was? We as parents. Because it was her fault. She didn't look. She just cut across in front of him. Kids can do a lot worse things than that. Don't worry about Elizabeth. She came through it fine. She did more damage to the Mercedes than she did to her own bicycle. Because God's guardian angels were working. But, you know, insurance for various things, we have to, after you become 18 years old, that's one of the joys of becoming an adult. You have to respond in situations. So here we've arrived at verse 18. When men quarrel and one strikes the other, Exodus 21, verse 18. When men quarrel and one strikes the other with a stone or with his fist, and the man does not die, but takes to his bed, then if the man rises again and walks outdoors with his staff, he who struck him shall be clear. Only he shall pay for the loss of his time, and shall have him thoroughly healed. In other words, pay for the money he lost at his job, and pay for his medical expenses. Verse 20. When a man strikes his slave, male or female, with a rod, and the slave dies under his hand, he shall be avenged. 21. But if the slave survives a day or two, he is not to be avenged. For the slave is his money. We'll talk about this more. When men strive together, verse 22, and hit a pregnant woman so that her children come out, but there is no harm, the one who hit her shall truly be fined, as the woman's husband shall impose on him, and he shall pay as the judges determine. But if there is harm, then you shall pay life for life, eye for eye, tooth for tooth, hand for hand, foot for foot, burn for burn, wound for wound, and stripe for stripe. When a man strikes the eye of his slave, male or female, and destroys it, he shall let the slave go free because of his eye. If he knocks out a fence, has a consequence. But there's also other things. If you have a house and a tegola falls off on somebody's head, did you know you're responsible as the owner of the house? Did you know it was going to fall? No. But the law today protects against it, correct? But sometimes situations can still exist. At any rate, when we talk about all the different things that happened back then, and Moses' law was to help in those situations, there's three different things that I wanted to draw to your attention, though, about the law. Not everything that the law dealt with meant that it approved of those things. Do you remember when the Pharisees brought the question to Jesus about an adulterous woman, or a man that wanted to divorce his wife, and Jesus said divorce was not in God's original plan, but it was permitted. Do you remember the reason? For if you know in Tagalog, say it in Tagalog and somebody can translate. That doesn't help you on your exam. No Bible students here? Divorce was permitted because of hardness of the heart. Did that mean that God approved of divorce?
No.
Even though it was in the Mosaic law, Moses, God gave him laws that he was to write down because of all the things that man can do, man that would do, even though they were wrong. God gave a law so that there would be guiding factors on how attitudes should be towards those things. Divorce was one. Slavery was another one. And then the third one was polygamy. In the Bible, have you kind of been amazed sometimes, that guys had more than one wife? Scandalizing. And back in those days, though, it was very common for kings. For Solomon had, all of his wives and concubines. But back then, the kings, what would they do? They would, to be at peace with another nation, they would exchange wives. And so since he had a wife of that king, and that king had a wife from him, then they would be in peace. So that, that wife wouldn't get hurt or killed or whatever. So there were lots of those kind of things. Did that make it right? No. Did that eliminate the problem just because it was wrong? No. And human nature being what it is, God gave lots of laws and rules to help people to know what his attitude was toward those things. All these laws in chapter 21, it's kind of hard to organize them when you're preaching through this chapter. It's not an easy chapter to try to organize in preaching. But it tends to a lot of different things that have to do with various aspects of human relations, and especially as it relates to wrong behavior one toward another. In today's legal system, we have legal responsibility or liability for things. You know what I mean by that? If you speed in your car, what are the risks?
More penalty.
The multa. Okay, to have to pay a
pag-aalagain.